Hello, good evening, and welcome to News Round on Impact Africa Television, IUTV. I am Anuluwapo Omorinde. We'll begin tonight with the Senate, which has passed a bill to amend the Orthopedic Hospitals Management Board Act to provide for the establishment of two new federal orthopedic hospitals in Kwara and Osun State. The Senate also amended the University Teaching Hospitals Act 2004 to provide for the establishment of two federal university teaching hospitals in Akure and Gusau. Moving the motion today at plenary, the chairman of the Committee on Earth, Ibrahim Oloriegbe, said the hospitals will provide services such as diagnosis and treatment from traumatic events. Oloriegbe noted that the bill will also bring healthcare closer to the people at reduced cost compared to private hospitals and drastically reduce health tourism. He added that the creation of more hospitals will deter patients from patronizing traditional bone setters who enjoy patronage in the absence of a specialized orthopedic hospital. The orthopedic hospital will be affiliated to the University of Ilorin Teaching Hospital, Kwara State, and the Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, Osun State, to provide specialized orthopedic treatment and medical services. The Senate has confirmed the nominations of 5 executive director nominees of the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority. The confirmation of the nominees followed the consideration of a report by the Committee on Downstream Petroleum Sector. Speaking at plenary, the chairman of the committee, Sabo Mohammed, said the nominees responded to a wide range of questions regarding the petroleum industry and measures that should be taken to reposition the industry for the benefit of the Nigerian economy. He further disclosed that the committee did not receive any petition against their nominations, adding that they were cleared by the Nigerian Police Force, Department of State Services, even as they possessed the Code of Conduct acknowledgement slips.
Having screened the nominees and being satisfied with their experiences, performance, and academic qualifications, hereby recommend as follows: that the Senate do confirm the nominations of Francis Alabo as Executive Director, Hydrocarbons, Plants Installation and Transportation. That the Senate do confirm the nomination of the Mustapha Lamode as Executive Director, Health, Safety and Environment. That the Senate do confirm the nomination of Masru Kulia as the Executive Director, Midstream and Downstream Gas Infrastructure Fund. That the Senate do confirm the nomination of Bashir Sadiq as the Executive Director, Corporate Services and Administration. That the Senate do confirm the nomination of Dr. Zainab Kobir as Executive Director, Economic Regulations and Strategic Planning.
Senate confirmed the nomination of Francis Alabo Ogari as Executive Director, Hydrocarbon Processing Plants, Installations and Transportation Infrastructure of the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The nomination of Francis Alabo Ogari as Executive Director, Hydrocarbon Processing Plants, Installations and Transportation Infrastructure of the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority is hereby confirmed. Will the Senate confirm the nomination of Dr. Mustapha Lamode as Executive Director, Health, Safety, Environment and Community of the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The nomination of Dr. Mustapha Lamode as Executive Director, Health, Safety, Environment and Community of the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority is hereby confirmed. Will the Senate confirm the nomination of Mansour Kulia as Executive Director, Midstream and Downstream Gas Infrastructure Fund of the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority? Those in favor say aye, and those against say nay. The ayes have it. The nomination of Mansour Kulia as Executive Director, Midstream and Downstream Gas Infrastructure Fund of the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority is hereby confirmed. Will the Senate confirm the nomination of Bashir Sadiq as Executive Director, Corporate Services and Administration of the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The nomination of Bashir Sadiq as Executive Director, Corporate Services and Administration of the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority is hereby confirmed. Will the Senate confirm the nomination of Dr. Zainab Gubir as Executive Director? Will the Senate confirm the nomination of Dr. Zainab Gubir as Executive Director, Economic Regulations and Strategic Planning of the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The nomination of Dr. Zainab Gubir as Executive Director, Economic Regulations and Strategic Planning of the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority is hereby confirmed.
Nigerians have called for a more transparent and accountable government as they continue to lament the hike in the pump price of petrol and the scarcity of the commodity. Speaking with Impact News Group today, they called on the federal and state government to be proactive, adding that the scarcity of fuel is adversely affecting their businesses.
Residents of Ibadan have continued to lament the hike in the pump price of petrol and scarcity of the commodity. In a move round town, Impact News Crew observed that while many fuel stations sell at 162 naira, which is the official rate, the situation is not so in some other fuel stations, as fuel prices are between 108 naira and 200 naira per litre. Speaking with IBR's correspondent, Adeshina Olawale, who is a civil servant, said the scarcity is adversely affecting the daily activities of the people. He called on the Oyo State government to expedite action towards curtailing the lingering fuel scarcity.
Well, it has affected me in every area of my business and movement. I think I've been here now for about maybe 45 minutes, and on this road from Idiakwe to Akobo is only this filling station that has fuel. It has affected everything. That's adversely, it has affected everything. So the government will have to do something, I mean, as a matter of priority to remove this fuel problem.
Also, a concerned citizen, Adewi Fumbi, described the scarcity of fuel as unfortunate, adding that the right steps must be carried out. Adewi called for a more transparent and accountable governance, adding that this will strengthen the trust of the people in the present administration.
So unfortunate that in Nigeria up until now we are still finding ourselves in this kind of mess, because I will call it a mess because I never thought we are going to go back to a time where we have to queue down to buy fuel. And over the years, we've always been talking about subsidy, removal of subsidy, and stuff like that. I think we should find a permanent situation, a permanent solution rather, to the issue, to the problem that is being caused by fuel scarcity. Recently, I think what caused this is about a substandard of fuel that was imported into the country. Who are the people responsible for such things? These people should be brought into account. They should be accountable for this kind of mess, because not only as this really shows how incompetent they are, it has also tell us that Nigeria is not ready to develop.
A commercial motorcyclist, Ayinde Adewale, lamented the fuel scarcity and how it has affected his business. He advised the federal government to do everything possible to put a stop to the situation.
Hearing that government will increase the price of fuel due to the removal of subsidy on petrol. But now look at this, we are suffering a lot now to get fuel. We consumers, we are bike riders as well as others that are using motorists and others. Look at it very well. So if government wants to remove the subsidy, and then if that one will be the solution to the problem on ground, I think I will advise them to find means of getting this done as early as possible, because now what we are facing now is very terrible.
Taiwo Olaniwaju, IATV News.
President Muhammadu Buhari has sworn in 6 national commissioners of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. According to report, the event preceded the commencement of the virtual meeting of the Federal Executive Council held at the Council Chamber in Abuja. The national commissioners are Mohammed Aruna from Niger State, May Agbamu Chimbu from Delta State, Sam Olumekun from Ondo State, among others. Present at the ceremony were Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, Senate President Ahmed Lawan, and the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila. Speaking after the ceremony, the chairman of the commission, Mahmoud Yakubu, said with the inauguration of the commissioners, INEC will perform better in the forthcoming elections. In another development, Governor Bello Matawale of Zamfara State has appointed Azan Guzo as deputy governor following the impeachment of Mahdi Guzo by the State House of Assembly. It will be recalled that the lawmakers had removed Guzo from office after he was found guilty of the allegations leveled against him. Until his appointment, Azan was a senator representing Zamfara Central Senatorial District at the National Assembly. The Chief of Defense Staff, General Lucky Rabo, has advised Nigerians to guard against utterances capable of endangering security and the fight against insecurity in the country. Rabo gave the advice today at the Security Summit in Abuja. The Chief of Defense Staff also called on politicians to join hands with security agencies in their bid to rid the country of criminal elements. He warned against politicizing the issues of national security and defense. Rabo further commended the sacrifice of troops battling insurgency across the country, noting that in the past few years they have given a lot of themselves in the interest of national stability. He, however, called for an end to the over-reliance on foreign input in terms of equipment and platforms and adequate bilateral commitment from neighboring countries. In another development, stakeholders have called for the exemption of the Nigerian police force from the contributory pension scheme. They made the call during the public hearing organized by the House of Representatives Committee on Pensions, sponsored of the Police Reform Act 2014. A member of the House, Francis Wave, said operating under the current pension scheme has been unpalatable and regrettable for the retirees of the Nigerian police force. He stressed the need for police officers to be exempted from the scheme, just like the armed forces and the Department of State Services. Also speaking, the Inspector General of Police Usman Akali Baba lamented the unpleasant experiences of retired police officers under the present scheme.
Contributory pension scheme was designed after the Chilean experience, where the military and the police were exempted. But in our case, when the law was enacted, somehow the police was left out of it. And I thought this was not good enough, judging from the fact that the police, they carry a lot of the burden, in fact, most of the burden of law enforcement in the country. And in a period where there is insecurity across the country, the police needs all the encouragement to be able to do their job effectively. Towards this end, I also considered the take-off after retirement comparatively between police and other security agencies. For instance, a DSP goes home with 2.5 and an army, I beg your pardon, a DSP 2.5, ASP 1.5, whereas an army captain or a DSS equivalent goes home with 12.8 million and 10.3 million respectively.
The second part of the second bill is saying late payments should be criminalized. A fine of X amount should be imposed, jail term or both. This also is coming from a position of misunderstanding, because the truth is the operators can only pay when government gives them money. So if they don't pay, you cannot send them to jail, sir, because they cannot pay what they don't have. So to criminalize them does not even arise. But most important, we should note that the only people who experience delay in payment are those with accrued rights issues. Accrued rights, ladies and gentlemen, are pensions earned before the reform, pre-2004. They are the only people who have issues, because there has to be the accrued rights, the contributions, and investment income before a person can begin to earn pension.
Away from that, Governor Dakwa Abiodun of Ogun State has warned the perpetrators of ritual killings to desist from such acts or face the full wrath of the law. The governor made this known today while reading the Riot Act to those engaged in ritual killings in the state. It will be recalled that 4 teenagers were arrested for beheading a young girl for money ritual purposes in the state. Governor Abnodu said propriety must be brought back into the psyche of children, even as he added that all ends must be on deck to arrest the moral decadence among the youths. Abiodun noted that ritualists will be made to serve as examples for anyone harboring such sinister routes to wealth acquisition. He said parts of the effort to end the menace is the compulsory signing of an undertaking by parents on behalf of their wards as part of conditions for enrollment into schools. Public affairs analysts have asked government to provide adequate security measures of all forms to checkmate the recurring xenophobic attacks on Nigerians in foreign countries. Hayodele Fake has details in this report.
Xenophobic attacks against Nigerians in other countries, especially South Africa, has been an age-long issue. Just recently, the South African police has assured the safety of Nigerians residing in South Africa following the latest round of mob attacks that took the life of a Nigerian. However, in reaction to the xenophobic attacks on Nigerians in foreign countries, a senior research fellow at the Institute of African Studies, University of Ibadan, Dr. Bafemi Jegede, is of the opinion that poor service delivery, competition for resources, and poor governance are the triggers of the violence.
State of things in a nation, every nation that suffers economic, political instabilities, especially the young people, they live in a state that does not provide adequate security for its people. I mean, when I mean security, it means job security, food security, social security. So when you don't have those securities, there's no way you will want to stay in such a place. When a particular country, a people of a particular country, cause a kind of population explosion in another country, we may not be able to avoid xenophobia.
Also speaking, the Oyo State Chairman of the Trade Union Congress, Emmanuel Ogundiran, posits that the factors leading to the emigration of Nigerians to foreign shores have not been eradicated.
A lot of us are surprised that even if any country would try that, it should not be South Africa. We knew how much Nigerians sacrificed. Nigeria and Nigerians sacrificed to make sure South Africa was taken away from the shackle of apartheid. The real cause is economy. When the world was going through economic meltdown, I think the South African people were baffled that while they were not making it, Nigerians that moved in were making it.
They therefore urged the government to address the causal factors leading to the emigration of Nigerians as well as the xenophobic attacks on Nigerians in foreign countries.
I would advise our government, our leaders. It's a pity, a lot of them, they travel out, they meet with the leaders of these countries in Senate climes, they know how it is done, but they will come back and will never do well. The only thing they can come with is electoral processes. How to rig votes, how to make people not to vote so that they can ride. But what of their business environment? What of the social responsibility of government to the people? What of the economic responsibility? What of the political responsibility? They will not do any.
The leader can solve all problems of a nation, and they can cause all problems in the nation. So they should solve our problems now. They should, imagine the medical doctors, many of them have gone now. Hospitals are almost practically empty. Very soon, professors will be leaving. I mean, many good professors have left. Engineers are leaving. Then how do we now sustain our land? So leaders must make our nation habitable. We must make our nation habitable to us. And that is the basis for which we can enjoy our land.
It will be recalled that in 2019, some angry Nigerians in response to xenophobic attacks on Nigerians in South Africa burnt some South African businesses. Ayodele Fakeye, ITV News.
Governor Bala Mohammed of Bauchi State says Nigeria's leadership should be based on merit towards bringing everybody on board. Speaking with newsmen today shortly after meeting with former President Olusegun Obasanjo in Abeokuta, Mohammed said the People's Democratic Party is rebuilding the party in order to reinstate unity among the people.
Very optimistic. To me, presidency is a consensus. is stakeholding and statesmanship. It's responsibility. Of course, every Nigerian should try, if he can, to contribute his or her quota to the growth and development of the nation, especially now when leadership recruitment should be based on merit, should be based on making sure that we bring everybody on board to reduce the spread or manifestation of separatism, feeling of disillusionment and disgruntlement, feelings that are capable of dividing us further. Nigeria is too large and too important to be ignored. Some of us have benefited so much. It is not about me and my aspiration, it's about the country. Well, it is not, because each party is trying to strategize, is to plan to make sure that if they zone their candidate to the south, it is open to us to see whether if we zone to the south, it is going to give us more electoral victory, or if we put it in the north, it will give us more electoral victory. Certainly, that is the kind of thing we are doing, the legwork, the articulation, the permutations, and so on and so forth, so that at least whatever we are going to do is to make sure we provide Nigerians the opportunity to choose in between best alternatives. But we are rebuilding our party to remove rancor, division, and what have you. We still need him, and his words of wisdom are always very, very useful. And so I came and sounded his opinion on some of the things we want to do in the party to close rank and to make sure that we provide Nigerians the opportunity to rescue Nigeria from the present division and rancor that we have found ourselves in. These are the two main reasons why I'm here.
The Osun State Commissioner for Special Duties and Regional Integration, Olalekan Badmus, has affirmed the commitment of the state government to sustaining the food support scheme to ensure food security in the state. Badmus assured that the state government is committed to reactivating local productions, even as they called on the youth to take maximum advantage of the opportunity to develop themselves. This is coming after stakeholders in the local production of stable foods across the state commended the monthly food support scheme initiated by the state government.
Myself as an individual represent entity. When I say I represent entity, I'm a Gary processor. So it's such a project I cannot do alone. I have so many of them working under me. So the reflection of the project, the positive impact and the reflection of the project, the same positive impact that the project have on me has also been transferred to those people working under me. So they are presently joyful that they are benefiting from the government, and majority of them are even saying this is the first time that the government would reach out to them directly. So this is highly appreciated on my part and those people working for me and under me.
If we are encouraging young men and women to go to farming, we as a government, we have a responsibility to ensure that they have patronage, to ensure that they have support, so that back to farm will be meaningful. It's not easy to encourage a young man today to go to farm. So this production of gari, which is essentially producers by the people of Osun in Osun, will be an encouragement to boost the economy and by extension the economy of the state.
With this, it is my firm belief that we hope the young ones can also come out into farming, and as much as possible, the government of Alhaji Saka Adegboye Igboeta will continue to encourage entrepreneurs, will continue to encourage agri-pioneers in the state, and we'll see how we can continue to improve on the Unja Ileri program that we're actually doing.
We'll now go on a short break. News round